Ready or Not was released in 2019, and I actually did a review for this movie back when this film came out. It was an older archived, now archived video on my channel. I was thinking about putting some clips in, but you know what? Fresh takes. This is my third time watching it. First time was in the cinema. Second time was with my wife, who thoroughly enjoyed it, by the way. And then my third time was last night, and in preparation to watch the second movie, the sequel, which is Ready or Not 2, Here I Come. Probably going to destroy some names here, but we're going to give it a shot. Directed by Matt Ballatin. Matt Matt Bettelini Olpin. I'm awful with names, guys. Awful. I'm not going to pretend I'm not. But he's best known for horror movies, being one of them being a VHS. The film stars Samara Weaving, which, can we just get this out of the way? Isn't she just a Margot Robbie looking clone? Like, it's quite scary how similar these two look. Just saying. Shush, phone. I do not want Uber Eats. So this movie follows a young bride who's hunted by her spouse's wealthy family as part of a wedding night ritual to worship the devil. And it is a very basic premise. We have Samara Weaving's character getting married into a rich family. She is from a foster home or multiple foster homes. Doesn't go too deep into her backstory, which I do appreciate. It's something that, the one thing that drew me straight to this movie, and in fact actually caught my attention early on when watching this movie in the cinema, was its pacing. It's quick into it, and it revolves around the idea of playing hide and seek, and it doesn't really deviate from that. Initially, we get a lot of tension, creepy ass family that are mega rich in this massive mansion. You immediately know something's off just by the way that these characters behave around our main character. The aunt in the movie scares the crap out of me. Her whole look is just messed up. Probably gonna mess this up as well, but Nikki Guadagnini, yeah. She's a Canadian actress from the stage, also radio, TV, film. She is excellent in this movie and definitely a highlight. There's a moment in this film where one of the maid characters, a very offside character that we don't really know anything about, she gets killed by accident, and she's still alive. You don't see her in the shot. She's behind a pool table. You just hear her like trying to gurgle her last breaths, and the aunt just walks over with a battle axe and takes her out. Like, it is brutally awesome. It's just one of those little moments in the movie that just stand out as a memorable moment. Especially after watching it 3 times, it's probably one of the moments I remember the most. It's kind of a fish out of water movie with our main character because, again, she's a foster child, so going into this environment, it's all new to her, and she even says to the mother in the movie that she just doesn't want to disappoint the family, and that is such a big thing that twists over to the fact that the family are not right, and they're horrible people. I spent a lot of this time for the third watch trying to think of why the boyfriend Adam would want to introduce her bride, to the bride to be, into this family, knowing what would happen. They say that there's one bad card in this and she drew it. There's multiple other games that they could have played, like chess or checkers or whatever, and that is slightly adhered to in the movie from other characters, like, oh, I pulled this card and yeah, and they survived and there was nothing as bad. But this is apparently like the one bad card you could pull. And so I was racking my brains with the husband, knowing that this could happen, why he wanted to drag her in, because he's like, oh, I love you, but he wants to be disconnected from the family, wanted to marry her and then just go and leave. The family very much like, no, we need to bring him back into the fold. So it's very weird. His motivations are a little bit questionable, but I think that all in all, he wanted the best of both worlds. And he knew that if they didn't do this, there's a chance that things could go horribly wrong, like what we get at the end of this movie. Another thing that I really like about this movie, as a massive horror fan, as you can see, Halloween, one of my favorite movies, this movie is not shot like a traditional horror or a traditional modern horror movie. It's not. It doesn't feel cheap. It doesn't feel like there's just tons of jump scares. It doesn't have this like weird, like, there is a supernatural element to the movie, especially at the end, but you don't feel like you're watching a horror movie. You feel like it's something quite new and original. I like it for that aspect, actually, to be fair. It's very much It's a bit of a weird comparison, but if you remember the movie Game Night, that movie was really good, and it was, of course, not a horror movie, but it did things in the genre that made it feel like it wasn't in that genre. It was like in a world of its own, and that's what Ready or Not is to me. And I think because of this rich family in this mansion, there's some gothic horror elements to this, and in fact, you can imagine this plot kind of being in an old Hammer movie. Like it would be very different, but the plot would work in an older movie under the Hammer production. There's gothicness to the setting. You have a lot of gore, people getting killed by accident most of the time, and that's always awesome. Then she eventually kind of like becomes more confident in herself. She's realizes she's able to take out some of the people that are trying to find her and kill her, and so she's fighting back, and there's some gruesome deaths involved with that as well. But it's all quite convincing, and none of it's like over the top to the point where it makes you feel queasy or you want to look away, or at least not for me, but I'm very desensitized to horror movies, so there is that too. Definitely some weird comedic moments, even when they shoot people or kill people. Like, there's always this slight comedic element because, there's characters in this movie that they don't know what they're doing. They're given these weapons and they're like, I don't know how to use this thing. There's a funny moment where one of the characters is holding a crossbow, but he's stood in the toilet and he's YouTubing how to use the weapon that he's holding. And it's just little moments like that of black comedy that kind of remind me of films like Shaun of the Dead. There's a quote in this movie that sticks with me, and it goes like this. I'm kind of paraphrasing, but it's true what they say. Rich people are truly different, and that stuck with me. I think because of the whole Epstein scandal, Epstein files stuff. Wow, this is like the second day in a row that I'm talking about the Epstein files. Well, I was talking about it in the boys review, but in this, like, because of the rich and the famous and the whole satanic undertone, and there's this whole, the whole conspiracy, the QAnon stuff, and all of that going on in our world, right, over the last few years. This movie seems relevant in that respect. Definitely an undertone of class, but it doesn't throw it in your face. I actually really liked the idea of being in the husband's shoes. Like, that character was interesting as well, because it's like, I have a traumatic family, I'm trapped, but I love this girl. Like, what the fuck am I going to do? I think when it comes down to it, this film is just hugely entertaining. I never was bored at any moment. There's some really fun to be, there's so much fun to be had with it, and it's rewatchable. Like, even though you know what happens in the end, it's just still rewatchable. Like, it's just pure entertainment, and that's what movies should be sometimes. A movie like this should just be entertaining, escapism, fun, bit of gore, an interesting plot, and I think the mechanics behind the movie, they didn't need to be fully explained, and they weren't. Want to talk about the next movie? Here I Ready or Not 2, here I come, because there's a whole load of crap to go through in that movie. Spoiler alert, it's not a very good movie. But this first one, absolutely awesome. I would highly recommend it to any horror movie fan, traditional horror movie fan, and perhaps you're a horror movie fan that's kind of looking for that classic gothic edge, something a little bit different, something not cliche, something that's not supernatural horror with loads of jump scares. I think this movie might be for you. Good characters, good gore, good story, good mechanics, shot well, good dialogue, all believable stuff, and a great ending. And for that reason, I'm going to give Ready or Not 4.5 stars out of 5. Honestly, it's an excellent movie. I really like this film. But what did you guys think? Leave a comment down below. Let me know. Have you seen the second movie too? You can expect a review for that one coming up soon. But with that being said, enjoy the movies, guys. I'll see you soon.